Welcome. We're going to talk about, let's make sure I'm in tune, we're going to talk about the solo Joe Pass played on the album For Django over the song Nuages, which is a Django Reinhardt piece. I'm just going to kind of play the solo measure by measure, and break down what's happening. It's such a fun solo to play and absolutely beautiful. Have to talk about it again. Second video I've done on this solo. Maybe this one will be a little better than the first one because I've been practicing again. And it's just such a good solo. So the solo starts on a D flat over an E flat dominant chord. So it's playing the 7, and then the chords. I'm going to go over the chords, and I'm just going to go over it measure by measure. So the next chord is a D7, and I'm just going to talk about these chords as major, minor, or dominant. So the next chord we have is a D7, and then we have this descending line. Resolving to the G, resolving to the third of the G chord. But basically you have a fully diminished scale. So over this D7, and that's all just fully diminished, wandering down to the third. So he starts up really high, and then you have the D chord. And I think what's cool about the solo is everything just lays perfectly on the guitar. Like, I don't even need tabs or anything to see, like, oh, where could he have played this? It's just so, I mean, I could be wrong in some of the areas where he played it. There's a good chance I am, but gosh, it just lays so perfectly on the fingers. So the first line is this. I'll play them all slow so you can slow it down. Maybe I'll make a tab of this and link it in the video, but that won't come till later. So sorry if you're watching this now and the tab isn't up, but we'll get to that. And then after that, now we're on a G chord. So all that happened over a 5 chord. And then now we're on the 1 chord. And then now he does something really interesting. He kind of outlines a D major chord, kind of a B minor or D major chord. And then he plays, so now after resolving on the third of the G, now we have a G chord for 2 measures. And then he has, I'll turn up a little bit. And what I said about this whole solo just laying so perfectly on guitar. Some of the diminished runs, the descending diminished runs are a little tricky, but some of the other lines, it's a perfect solo. Anyway, so we have, and then now over a G chord, resolving back to that third, the G chord, and then now we're back to an E flat. Right, so now he's doing over the E flat. Why am I blanking on this extension? Anyways, you know what? Here's the thing: who cares about the extensions? Who cares about any of that stuff? What matters is the feel and how he plays this solo. Because even the fact we have a dominant chord technically, but he's playing major 7s over it. So. And then the next line, still over an E flat. Resolving again to the 5th. Now he's resolving to the 5th of the G chord. So over that E flat chord. And then. And a little enclosure over the 5th. What was it? Which is kind of interesting. So again, an enclosure is when you surround the note. So you can kind of have, and he does that kind of before that line over the G, over this line. But right there, have a B, sort of a B minor arpeggio. I'm going back, but that's how he's outlining that. So anyways, again, over the E flat, and then again, so now here he's kind of doing the same thing. It's this fully diminished solo, or this fully diminished scale. I mean, he kind of skips some notes. Oops. And resolving on the fifth of the chord. So the first time he landed on the third, second time he landed on the fifth. And then after that, now, again, 2 measures of G, and then he finishes it off again with an enclosure. So, but I play it here. Like I said, again, it lays super nice on the guitar. I mean, that again. So outlining the G major 7, and then the 6th, 3rd, 6th, 5th, and then here's where we get the little bluesy thing. And then now the next 2 chords will be a 2-5-1 to E minor, F sharp minor, flat 5 to B7. Here's where things for me get kind of interesting. I think it's really cool. So after this, so again, you have that diminished line, and then now over an F sharp minor flat 5. And then now over the B7, what's cool I think over this chord he does, is he doesn't play, so you have a B7, but he doesn't play a D sharp. He plays a D natural. And he outlines a C major 7 arpeggio. And then lands on the 3rd for the E minor. So that's what you call the honeysuckle, what is it? The honeysuckle roseleaf. So over the B7, C major 7 arpeggio, and then kind of coming down, and now instead of that, it goes into the honeysuckle, and then resolving to the 3rd of the E minor. And what's cool of this, so now over the E minor, so now getting into the next chord, the E minor chord. So he landed on the 3rd, right? And then does this thing, like I said, again about this line just laying on the guitar. So that whole, and then what's cool now he plays the D sharp. He didn't play the D sharp over the chord that had a D sharp in it. He played, so you end up with this thing here, which is pretty tasty if you ask me. But now the cool thing he does is now he plays the D sharp. So now he's kind of landing on this thing when it's actually an E minor. He's playing a D sharp now, and so an enclosure over the E minor, right over the 3rd. And then what's cool here is he outlines again a D sharp outlining a B major arpeggio, and then resolves it, and then he plays a weird little 6th in there too, a little color note. And then now we're going to the A7. So over A7. So basically he's adding an F sharp over the A7, making it a A13. So it becomes that. Beautiful stuff. So, and he kind of leads into that with this. And then now coming out of that, great line there, resolving, this leading tone to the 5th of the chord, and then a chromatic passing tone down to the 9. So now we're on a D7. So basically outlining a D9, and then this little kind of sporadic little line here, and he cuts off. And then again, now quoting the melody because we're going back to the A. The song's kind of like an A, B, A, C phrasing, and then like that's the normal melody, but he doesn't play that. He goes very cool line, and then that was a little tricky to figure out. I think pretty sure that's what he does. And in the recording, you hear So after that, and then you hear that note, but it's actually the rhythm guitar playing this. So in my transcription, he wrote that note, but I don't think it's Joe Pass playing it. It's actually the accompanist hitting that note, and that note kind of stands out. And then after that, D7, right? Because we're in the A section. And then now he does, again, this descending, fully diminished scale. Again, kind of resolving to the third, but in a different way. The rhythm is different. He does a little grace note. I don't know if it was a mistake, but it's Joe Pass. So he does that. But the rhythm is kind of landing on the upbeat, the last 16th note before the measure. Now here's the next measure over G major now, G major 7. He does something kind of cool. Plays a minor third over a major chord. So again, he's enclosing a lot of the intervals. He's either enclosing the third, the fifth. In this one, he's enclosing the fifth. But the peculiar thing about this line is he's kind of outlining this. So he's doing this thing over a G major, which is pretty cool. So, and then now going to an A flat dominant. Oops. Now, one of my favorite sections. That line, pretty tough. So he's leading in. And that's over the A flat. And then now there's a G7 to C major 7. What does he do over that? This is, I think, one of my favorite parts. Close to my favorite part. My second favorite part. And then now he goes, so over this, he does some real spicy stuff. So from the G to a C, basically from a 5-1, what does he do? So here we go, G chord. Woo, super tasty if you hear it in context. So over the G chord, he's starting on the B flat. I mean, all pretty gruesome notes if you think about it. He doesn't touch the third. He encloses the root. So it's all about the enclosures and the way he's wrapping around each note. So, and then landing on the third. So when he gets to the C chord, he resolves it to the third. What I find cool about this is it's this kind of flat 9-y situation. So he's hitting the flat 9 and then resolves it to the third. And then over the C chord. And then now he does something really cool. He does a sequence of arpeggios. He does a G major arpeggio starting on an E as kind of a pickup note into this line. Over a C minor chord. But let's check that out. So he does a G major arpeggio, C major arpeggio, D major, E minor arpeggio. So that's all over a C chord, which is a nice thing to do if you have one static chord. So say you have a G chord, or in this case a C chord, you can just move up arpeggios, and it's a really cool thing to do. So if you have one static chord, he kind of does that. He leads into it. And then now over the C minor, because it goes from C major to C minor. Here we go. And he kind of leads in with this 9, 1, and then, which is pretty tasty. So he's doing this augmented thing. So 9, 1, resolving on the 9, 1. And then now my favorite part. And then all this together. So he's doing, so over the C minor chord, goes up to the high G, and then my most favorite line in the whole solo, this right here. So this is kind of leading in. So you still have a C minor chord happening now at the time. And he just almost doesn't care that it's a C minor chord. But the way he resolves it to me is, this is my favorite part of the song. So you have, so do that whole section, C major chord, C minor chord, and then still C minor chord, still C minor, and then G major. So he resolves, he lands on the 6th. But for some reason, to me, coming out of this, and then, ooh, chef's kiss. I remember even just when I would listen to this song, that line was like, oh. One day I could be that cool to play a line like that. And then again, kind of quoting the melody. And then he does this kind of super guitar run. Like I said, this stuff just lays so perfectly on the guitar. He does this super guitar line, and it just, again, so it just falls perfectly on the fingers. Oh, we got people watching, commenting. I can't see y'all, but maybe I'll read the comments in a second, because I'll be just about done here. But and then this line here. Again, it just lays perfectly on the hand. And then just this whole fully like augmented thing. This is happening over an E flat chord. So again, kind of quoting the melody and embellishing it. And then as we get to the end of the solo, and then just some more tasty stuff here. Oh, sharp 9. And he's minor third. He seems to really like this minor third, and then he switches to the major third at the end. And I think you hear at the very end, you hear the accompanist go at the end while Joe's going. He's tremoloing this situation. So again, the last line, you he plays it really fast. He just kind of drapes down that whole situation. And then so that's kind of my breakdown measure by measure of this entire solo. To me, it's Joe Pass absolutely just destroying this ballad. So much tasty stuff in there. You have there's so many good parts in it. I recommend you learn it. I'll probably make up a tab sheet for it and link it in this video. How long is this video already? This is 20 minutes. No way. This is way too long. Maybe I'm going to probably do another video on this solo because it's too good. It's too good to check out. It's too good to not talk about. People are commenting. That's cool. Iron Maiden platform of opera. All right. Cool. I had some funny trolls last time I did a live, but I know it's been a long time. I'm going to try to post more to this channel and just post, you know, more things like this, solos that I admire. Like I said, I might do another video on this. It's just too tasty of a solo to not. Maybe I could do one in a proper one with like edited and you can see the solo with tabs or whatnot. But I'm tired. I'm going to get to bed. I love you all. Take care. Hope you enjoyed. Again, the takeaway from this solo right here. I haven't been practicing on this guitar. This guitar was the one in my studio. I have my other, my arch top is upstairs right now. So this, I think this whole section, he does. Why am I playing it wrong now? Gosh, one more time. Thank you, Joe Pass, for existing. Thank you for watching. Take care. See you on the next one. I'm a composer. I've got a bunch of music out on all the streaming platforms. I like to put dots on paper and give it to other people to play. It's kind of more my, I like doing that. So I've written a string quartet, piano sonata. It's all kinds of weird avant-garde compositions. A lot of them on my channel. Take care. Peace out, y'all.